and the Terran actually doesn't yet have any line of sight on that. But at the moment, the Zerg is getting back into the game, producing many of drones, getting reasonable saturation. He's not got really enough saturation here, but the infestation pit managed to go down. It looks like he sent that second Banshee, which is no longer here, to kill that, but it then did get killed, unfortunately, as this Queen does have a kill, which I've got to presume is a Banshee. So, Terran is only now starting to get upgrades. Actually, the upgrades are incredibly strong for the Terran. He's already got 1-1, even though he has skipped out on the stim, so he's not expecting the Zerg to move out for a very long time. But if these banelings are morphing, it's any sort of indication that he's planning on moving out reasonably soon, because I doubt that these are defensive banelings. They could be, but I'm not sure that they are, as he's making another 40 Zerglings as well. 2-2 is nearly finished, and Hives is nearly finished, and Burrow's on the way up, but that won't really matter in this fight. And what really could matter is the baneling speed, whether it'll finish in time for this push. But it looks like Stim is going to be finishing in time for this push to come out, although he still doesn't have any medevacs or combat shields, which he really does want. Although he's actually just going to be taking a position here and denying this fourth base for the Zerg. So the Terran's got a very stable 3-base economy now, and he's also working on his upgrades, not yet on his tank upgrades, but he's going to be actually even taking his own fourth, because he can defend it, because he has this incredibly entrenched position with the Marines, with the tanks, although that doesn't stop the Zerg from doing counterattacks, which I approve heavily of, but he's actually changing his mind, which I don't approve heavily of. Occasional pokes coming out for the Zerg, just to see if there's still tanks there, and of course there is. So the Terran's actually maxed now. He should be starting to add on unit production structures, so putting down 4 or 5 barracks so that he can remax that much faster. Unfortunately though, combat shields is still not finished. It's almost the same as every single Zerg for getting adrenal glands, but of course this BeautiNator is not that stupid, and he is past Grandmaster because he does not forget his upgrades. And the actual ninja force is coming up for the Zerg, which means that if the Terran does kill it off, then he gets to counterattack. The problem with this is if the Terran only sends 1 drop's worth of Marines, then he's still fine here. So it looks like we could actually be sitting here for a while, but the Terran is actually dropping into the main, and the entire army for the Zerg is being trapped back. What he probably wants to do is push forward with these Marines at the same time, so that he can take advantage of this being out of position. He could have actually killed every single infestor right there. It would have been absolutely amazing, but unfortunately didn't manage to. The medevac's actually being taken out now slowly, as these Marines are checking for extra bases, and I've got a phone to... So we have the Zerg sitting here with his nice big army of Zergling Infestor, Baneling, Ultralisk, and he's actually going to be starting to try to push on the Terran. The question is, how will he do it? Because what he wants to do is pull part of his army here, part of his army here, and part of his army here, so he can just run in at 3 positions at the same time, so that the tanks have to essentially shoot 3 times as much stuff. Interestingly, 4 command centers coming up in combination with 4 starports, which I'm not sure what they're going to be for. It could be battle cruisers, it could be Ravens, it could be Banshees, it could be anything. Or it could just be lots and lots and lots of Vikings when he sees the transition away from Ultralisks. And very fortunately Morg's managed to scout this ninja base, and he's probably going to be sending a couple of Marines over to go and deal with it. And here's a couple. But Zerg's taking advantage of this, and he's counter-attacking, coming in straight through the front and through the side at the same time. Banelings are getting reasonably good detonations on everything, and the Ultralisk is still alive. There's no tanks left, there's no Marines left. He's gone straight through this. Every single Infest is alive, every single Ultralisk is alive, and 50 Zerglings are going to be backing this up. And the question is, will the Terran be able to hold? Because I'm not sure that he will. As this planetary fortress is now taking heavy damage, and it's not going to be repaired, as the Ultralisk have gone through that, so he's down to 3 mining bases. Can this Zerg force be stopped? Infest being sniped here by some Marines, but the Ultralisk have come here to come and help as the Zergling reinforcements arrive. Command centers have been lifted off. Actually, what he wants to do is land them so they get in the way of the Zerg units. Stutter Step coming out with very good for the Terran, as the Marauders are able to do heavy damage to the Ultralisks, but there's just so much Zerg stuff, and I'm not sure that the Terran will be able to even hold this position, even how he has such an incredible defense advantage from him, as the Ultras are just so good at walking straight through whatever you want to stay alive. As more Banelings come in, more Zerglings come in, as the Terrans get thrown down. And will the Terran be able to hold? His production is now being camped. Tanks are up on the high ground, but I don't think they'll be able to do anything. I think this is GG, as there's now nearly 80 supply up for the Zerg. And 3-3 is just not going to do anything, as it's not even going to finish. Command centers going down, economy going down. Zerg is in your main, and you can't do anything about it. Even that lone Banshee, as G gets called, they leave the game. And that was a very quick realization that Zerg is just so strong if you let it do what it wants, even with that defensive position. What he wanted to do probably was put down a couple of depots and stuff to stop the units from being able to run round and kind of trap them